Imagine making a decision at 18, maybe when you felt invincible or just wanted to feel something, and it haunts you for years. Thousands of dollars down the drain, a decade of regret, and your skin left looking like someone waged a war on it. That tattoo you once thought would say everything about who you are, suddenly you do almost anything to erase it. Now, the process of getting rid of it, it's not just painful, it's weirdly fascinating and, honestly, kind of wild from a science perspective. Today, we're diving headfirst into the world of tattoo removal. Not the sanitized, everything's fine version you see in some glossy dermatologist's office. I'm talking about the gritty reality, the science that sounds almost fake, the kind of pain that makes getting the tattoo in the first place seem like a spa day. We'll dig into methods so rough, even medieval torturers would flinch, and look at the billion-dollar industry that's sprung up just to help people undo what seemed like a good idea at the time. I'm Emma Chamberlain, and this is the infographics. Let's kick things off with a number that might surprise you. About 1 in 4 people with tattoos regret at least one of them. That's millions of people walking around with the names of exes they'd rather forget. Spring break mistakes that were only funny for about 5 minutes, or that tribal armband everyone had in 2005. Every year, hundreds of thousands decide they can't stand it anymore. All they want is to look in the mirror and not see that thing staring back. But here's the real problem. Tattoos are built to last forever. The whole point, from ancient Polynesian traditions to trendy Brooklyn studios, is to make something that sticks around for life. Something that doesn't fade, doesn't budge, just sits exactly where you put it until, well, you're gone. So taking that away? Not easy, not cheap, and absolutely not painless. To get why tattoo removal is such a beast, you have to know how tattoos actually work in your skin. It's not like drawing on your arm with a marker, and it's definitely nothing like injecting ink into a blank canvas. It's rough. Your body never asked for this, and it never really stops fighting back. Here's what happens. A tattoo needle punches into your skin anywhere from 50 to 3,000 times per minute. That's not a typo. It shoves the ink deep into your dermis, the middle layer of your skin. That's key, because the outer layer, the epidermis, sheds itself constantly. Your skin basically refreshes every 2 to 4 weeks. If the ink only sat there, your tattoo would vanish in a month and you'd be back in the chair again. But the dermis is a whole different story. It's dense, it holds its shape your entire life, and it doesn't shed. The ink gets stuck there. Tiny particles made from metals, plastics, and random pigments, lodged for good. Your body has no way to get rid of them on its own. Not that it doesn't try. Your immune system sends in the cleanup crew. Macrophages, these white blood cells that are supposed to gobble up anything foreign and haul it away. They swarm the tattoo, eat the ink, and try to flush it out through your lymphatic system. But the ink particles are usually too big. The macrophages grab them, get stuck, and just sit there. Or they die, and the ink spills right back into the dermis. Your tattoo ends up as a never-ending standoff between your body and the ink. And honestly, the ink's winning, unless you decide to fight back. For most of history, tattoo removal was straight-up torture. The Greeks and Romans? They used brutal chemical mixes and salts, basically burning the skin and leaving a wound that, when it finally healed, might cover up the tattoo. Sure, the ink was less visible, but now you've got a scar instead. Sometimes, they'd literally cut out the tattooed skin and stitch the rest together. This worked for tiny tattoos, but anything bigger meant huge scars, real risk of infection, and months of painful healing. Then there was salibrasion, rubbing salt or other gritty stuff into the skin to scrape off the top layers. Think sandpaper on an open wound. Not only did it hurt like hell, it often left you with scars just as bad, if not worse, than the tattoo itself. So yeah, you might lose the ink, but you'd gain a whole new set of problems. Back in the 19th and early 20th centuries, doctors tried all sorts of wild things to get rid of tattoos. They'd tattoo over the old ink with some nasty solution that irritated the skin, then zap it with electricity, hoping the swelling would somehow force the ink out. It almost never worked. Mostly, people ended up with terrible infections, burns, and scars that looked worse than the original tattoo. And that wasn't the worst of it. Some methods involved injecting acid right into the skin, or freezing it with cryosurgery until the skin blistered and peeled off. There was dermabrasion too, basically sanding down your skin with a fast-spinning tool. Every one of these methods was painful, dangerous, and honestly, not very effective. Things started to change in the 1960s when medical lasers came onto the scene. But those early lasers were pretty rough. They couldn't tell the difference between ink and skin. The idea was just to burn away the tissue and hope the tattoo disappeared with it. Usually, this left people with a mess: scars, weird skin texture, changes in color, and sometimes the tattoo was still there, just trapped under the scar. It was an upgrade from acid, but not by much. The real breakthrough came with Q-switch lasers in the 80s and 90s. These lasers didn't just burn continuously. They fired off ultra-fast, high-powered pulses, measured in nanoseconds. That's a billionth of a second, which is honestly hard to even picture. Here's where the science gets pretty interesting. Q-switch lasers use something called selective photothermolysis. Sounds intimidating, but it just means using light, photo, to heat, thermo, and break apart, lysis, certain things. In this case, tattoo ink. So what happens is the laser sends out a specific wavelength of light that passes right through the top layers of your skin without hurting them. Your skin barely notices, but the ink particles sitting deeper down, they soak up the energy, just like a black shirt in the sun. The ink heats up super fast, expands, and then shatters into tiny pieces. Because the pulse is so ridiculously short, the surrounding skin doesn't have time to get damaged. It's like when you hit a wine glass with just the right pitch and it shatters, but everything else stays intact. The laser energy hones in on the ink and leaves your skin alone. Once those big ink blobs are blasted into tiny fragments, your immune system finally gets a shot at them. Macrophages, think of them as your body's cleanup crew, can now gobble up the smaller pieces and carry them away through your lymphatic system. Over the next few weeks or months, your body slowly flushes out the ink. Yep, you're literally peeing out your tattoo. Honestly, compared to the methods that came before, this is incredible. The technology is elegant, almost sci-fi. But here's the reality check. Laser tattoo removal is not some quick fix. Far from it. You don't just walk in, zap your tattoo, and walk out ink-free. It's a journey. A long, sometimes painful, expensive, and frustrating journey. How many sessions you'll need? That's anyone's guess. There are just too many variables. How old is the tattoo? Older ones fade more and can be easier to break up. What colors are in it? Black and dark blue are the easiest to remove. They absorb laser light best. Reds and oranges are tougher. Greens and blues can be stubborn as hell. White ink is the real nightmare. Sometimes, when you hit it with a laser, it doesn't fade, it just oxidizes and turns darker. Nobody wants that. How deep is the ink? Professional tattoos are packed deeper and denser than homemade ones. So that intricate sleeve you paid good money for, it's going to take more sessions, more money, and more patience to get rid of than that stick and poke from your friend's basement. Skin type matters too. Darker skin has a higher risk of pigment changes, and your health plays a part. Your immune system is the one doing the heavy lifting, so if it's not in great shape, removal will be slower. On average, you're looking at 5 to 15 sessions, each one spaced 6 to 8 weeks apart. Yeah, that's over a year. Sometimes 2, just to erase a single tattoo. You can't rush it. Your skin needs time to heal, your immune system needs time to clear out the ink, and you need to see how your body responds before the laser settings get tweaked for the next round. Why all the sessions? Simple. The laser can only break down so much ink at a time. Picture trying to smash a big rock into tiny bits with a hammer. You chip away with every swing, but there's no way you're pulverizing the whole thing in one go. Each session cracks apart the ink that's close to the surface or easiest to reach. Some ink sits deeper, some clings on tighter, and some is hidden behind other particles. It takes a lot of rounds, sometimes over years, to get rid of it all. Then there's the cost, which hits hard. People get a serious reality check here. One small tattoo session might run you $200 to $500. For something bigger, like a half sleeve or a back piece, you're staring at $1,000 or more each time. Stack that up across 10 or 15 sessions, and suddenly you're dropping 5, 10, maybe even 15 grand. That's way more than what you paid for the tattoo in the first place. It's a hefty price for fixing a regret, and the bill stings. And the pain? Yeah, let's talk about that. Remember how the needle felt? Annoying, but with a rhythm you could eventually tune out? Laser removal is a different beast. It's not steady. It's not something you can zone out through. Most people say it's way worse than getting the tattoo. Imagine someone snapping a hot rubber band against your skin over and over, or hot grease popping and burning you again and again. Some people say it feels like a series of electric shocks that make your muscles twitch. The laser fires off in these lightning-fast bursts, but each one packs a punch your nerves don't miss. There's this sharp popping sound with every pulse. It echoes in the room and gets under your skin, honestly. And unlike tattooing, there's no settling in. Every zap is a new jolt. You never really adjust. You just grit your teeth and get through it. Some places offer numbing cream or local anesthetic, which helps a bit, but a lot of people skip it because the cream can mess with the laser's effect. So you lie there, bracing yourself for every single snap, knowing you'll be back for more in a couple months. Afterward, things don't exactly get easier. The area almost always blisters. Swelling? Yeah, expect it. Bleeding? Not out of the question. You need to keep it clean and covered so you don't get an infection. Sun? Forget it. The skin's way too fragile. You might be applying ointments and dressings for weeks. And the itch as it heals is on another level. Not just a surface tickle, but a deep, crazy-making itch that you can't scratch. Scratching risks scars and infections, so you just have to ride it out. And there are real risks. Scars can happen, especially if you're prone to keloids or ignore aftercare. The skin might feel different, look different, or act weird compared to the rest of you. Pigment changes are common too. Sometimes the treated area turns lighter, hypopigmentation. Sometimes it goes darker, hyperpigmentation. These changes can stick around for months, or forever. Imagine finally erasing your ex's name, only to end up with a pale ghost patch instead. The color of your tattoo matters too, and the science here gets a little nerdy. Black ink's the easiest to zap because it soaks up all kinds of light. Dark blue isn't far behind. Red ink needs a specific laser, usually green light, around 532 nanometers. Green and blue inks make things trickier. They need lasers closer to the red spectrum, which can be tougher on your skin. Yellow and pastels? They barely budge, even after a ton of sessions. But white ink? That's the real headache. White reflects light instead of absorbing it, so lasers barely touch it. Sometimes, the laser actually reacts with the titanium dioxide in the ink, turning it from white to a stubborn gray or black. So you try to erase a white highlight and end up with a dark spot that's even more stubborn than what you started with. Getting a professional tattoo is sort of a double-edged sword. The artists really know what they're doing. They get the ink deep into your skin, use top-notch machines, and make sure every line and color lasts. That's great if you want to keep your tattoo forever. But if you ever want it gone, well, you're in for a rougher ride. Professional tattoos are stubborn. Amateur ones, like those stick and pokes or quick prison jobs, usually sit closer to the surface. They're easier to get rid of. So, if you paid a lot for some beautiful sleeve, removing it will cost you even more time and money. Tattoo removal isn't some niche thing anymore. It's huge. Seriously, a multi-billion-dollar industry now. Walk down any city street and you'll probably spot a laser clinic. People aren't just zapping off old boyfriend names or random symbols. The reasons are all over the map these days. Take jobs, for example. Attitudes are changing, sure, but a lot of employers still don't love visible tattoos. If you work in sales, customer service, or any buttoned-up field, your ink might hold you back. So people hit the laser to keep their options open. Career shifts spark removals too. Maybe you're a lawyer with a full sleeve and you want out of your creative firm and into a traditional practice. That sleeve suddenly becomes a problem. Teachers deal with this a lot, depending on where they work. Weddings are another big one. Nobody wants their ex's name staring up from their shoulder in wedding photos, or that old tattoo peeking out from under a dress. Some people just want a blank slate for the next chapter. And then, life just changes. That tattoo you loved at 22 might feel embarrassing at 35. Priorities shift. Your taste grows up, but the tattoo sticks around. It's easy to outgrow ink. For some people, though, tattoo removal is about way more than looks or careers. Former gang members, for instance, sometimes need tattoos gone just to stay safe. In the wrong neighborhood, an old gang tattoo makes you a target, sometimes literally. Law enforcement notices too. For these folks, removing a tattoo can mean the difference between life and death. A few nonprofits actually help out, offering free or cheap removal for ex-gang members and survivors of trafficking who need to erase tattoos forced on them. On the tech side, things are moving fast. The latest buzz is about picosecond lasers. These things fire off energy in trillionths of a second, way faster than the old nanosecond models. They break up ink into tiny pieces, so your body clears it out faster. Some studies say you need fewer sessions, but the machines are expensive and still pretty rare. People have tried other options too. Those fading creams you see online? Don't get your hopes up. They might take the edge off after months of use, but lasers work way better. Plus, some creams have nasty chemicals that can burn or irritate your skin. There's even some wild experimental stuff, like training your immune system to attack tattoo ink, almost like it's fighting a virus. In theory, your body could clear the tattoo on its own, but honestly, that's still science fiction for now. So, is it worth it? That's personal. If you hate your tattoo every time you look in the mirror, if it's holding you back or messing with your confidence, maybe the pain and cost are a fair trade for feeling like yourself again. There's something freeing about getting your skin back, about seeing only what you want to see. Just don't expect magic. Sometimes the tattoo never fully disappears. You might end up with a faint shadow or a scar instead. Sometimes it takes years and costs a fortune, and you still have a reminder of your old mistake. That's just the reality. Here's the thing. Before you get a tattoo, really think it over. Don't rush it. Where you put it matters more than you might realize. And please, skip the names of romantic partners unless you're absolutely, completely sure. Honestly, it's better to wait until you're a bit older and your style's settled in. Try a temporary tattoo first. Wear it for a while, see if you still like it once the excitement fades. If you decide to go for it, pick an artist whose work you actually love. Not just the cheapest or the one who can squeeze you in next week. Check out their portfolio, make sure their style fits what you want. Remember, this thing's going to be on your body for a long, long time, or until you pay a ton of money and go through a lot of pain to get it removed. Tattoos are meant to be permanent. The ink sits deep in your skin in a spot that doesn't just shed away. Getting rid of it? That's a whole other story. Painful, expensive, and honestly, kind of wild that it's even possible. It's impressive, really, that people figured out how to erase something designed to last forever. It's also a bit humbling to realize we needed to in the first place. But that's life, right? We all mess up sometimes, and it's good to know we get another shot. Millions of people decide every year that their old tattoo doesn't have to stick with them forever. Thanks for sticking around for this deep dive with the infographics. If this made you pause before your next tattoo, or gave you a new respect for people going through removal, hit that like button. It helps us out and lets us know you want more content that digs into the real stories behind science, medicine, and human behavior. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. We've got some wild stuff coming up. More deep dives into the science behind everyday things, the hidden costs of trends, and the stories behind the marks we choose to carry. And we want to hear from you. Got a tattoo you regret? Gone through removal? What was it like? How many sessions did it take? Would you do it again? Drop your story in the comments. We read them all, and your experiences make this community stronger. You never know. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs. Share this video with someone thinking about getting inked, or with someone thinking about removal. Either way, they deserve to know what they're getting into. Send it to that friend still talking about covering up their ex's name, or your cousin wondering if visible ink will hold them back at work. You might help someone make a better decision just by sharing. That's it for today. I'm Emma Chamberlain, and this is the infographics. Stay curious, stay sharp, and remember, the only thing harder than getting a tattoo is choosing to remove it. Think before you ink, and if you don't, just know, getting it off won't be easy. See you next time.